Good Sunday morning. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Chris Ramirez. We are going to be under a weather impact alert today from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. as we could see some heavy downpours here across southeast Texas and across the Houston area because we are expecting some tropical moisture that's going to be coming our way. We're starting off mostly quiet. Temps are in the 80s. Dew points are going to be causing those temps to be feeling like in the 90s as we head into the first half of our day. So as we look at that hourly planner, it's going to be between 11 I think around the noon hour is when we're going to start seeing these showers and these storms start moving inland here across the Houston area. And so just keep in mind that we could see some of those downpours later today. So if you're heading out to the Beyonce concert, I know a lot of folks are heading out there ahead of time, hours before the concert actually starts. Just keep in mind that we could see scattered downpours here across Houston before 5 p.m. And so bring an umbrella, have a plan B, maybe just wait in your car if you get to that parking spot ahead of time, but be prepared for rain here in Houston later this afternoon. Radar right now, this is as of 8 o'clock this morning. We're seeing mostly clear conditions, but there is some scattered shower and storm activity just offshore. As we get closer towards 12:30, 1 o'clock, that's when we're going to start seeing some of those showers and those storms that are offshore start moving inland across Harris County, and that could bring some downpours here and there. I don't think none of this is going to be as long lasting, but you just never know when it comes to these downpours that we've been seeing. It doesn't take much. We could get between 1 to 2 inches of rain in a very isolated area, and that could cause some problematic conditions in roadways in across portions of Houston, even though the other side of the city may not even see any rain. So just keep an eye on those downpours as we've learned these past few days. We're still in this unsettled weather pattern, especially as we're tracking this tropical moisture. So those downpours likely moving through the area between noon, 4 or 5 p.m. And then as we get closer towards maybe 6, 7 o'clock, things are going to start quieting down. Rain chances are going to be ending. We lose that daytime heating, and it usually does a great job at suppressing that rain activity for the overnight hours. And so as we look at that moisture, this tropical moisture is all from Tropical Depression number 2 that is currently out in the Bay of Campeche. Winds right now at 35 miles an hour, moving west-northwest at 9 miles an hour. And so it very well could strengthen into a tropical storm just before landfall, but it's going to be very short-lived, at least as we head into the next maybe few hours. As soon as that low pressure system moves in over land, over Tampico and over Mexico, that's going to cut off that energy for us here in terms of that tropical moisture. There's also a lot of wind shear. When I talk about wind shear is higher level wind speeds in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That does a good job at suppressing tropical system development, and there is some wind shear just north of that system. As you see, their system's right down there, but wind shear north of that system, and that's going to keep that system further south. Also, we have some ridging of high pressure that's currently in over the southeast U.S. So the good news in all of this is that most of the rain is going to be well to the south, most of the heavier rain that is, south of the U.S.-Mexico border. Tampico getting up to maybe 5 inches of rain as that system moves in over central Mexico. So this is not going to be threatening southeast Texas or Houston. So tropical depression number 2 moving in over land. Also the National Hurricane Center, we are looking at another area, this one over Florida, that now has a 20% chance of development within the next 7 days. This is all thanks to a stationary frontal boundary that's draped over Florida, and that could fuel some tropical development in the coming days. But also just keep in mind that we have some Saharan dust, a plume of that moving in over the Atlantic and over the Caribbean. This plume is expected to arrive tomorrow, and that's going to bring some hazy conditions here across Houston. That also suppresses rain development as well as give us cooler temperatures. The only thing we're going to have to really keep an eye on is the haze, as well as maybe lower air quality levels getting closer towards the evening and afternoon hours. We could see a dusty mix of rain. I don't know if you remember seeing that, those dusty spots on your car that we've seen in years past. That could possibly be in the situation for tomorrow heading into Sunday. So car washes are probably going to be busy by the middle of the week, going into at least by Tuesday and Wednesday. So we can expect it to remain hazy at least between Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday as well. So for the next few days, we are expecting this rain activity to be in the picture. So each and every day is going to have the potential for maybe some hit or miss showers. So as we look at our future track for the next few days, we are expecting this to continue continue. With that rain today, there is still going to be some moisture left over for Monday, but then Tuesday is when we're going to see a little bit of a high pressure system that's going to be moving in over East Texas. That's going to really suppress rain development for Tuesday and Wednesday. But we're going to still continue to see some isolated showers here and there. And I think that we're going to ring in the 4th of July, mostly hot, humid, and I think rain chances are very well at a minimum. I don't think we're going to be looking at any major issues for the 4th of July, which is good news for us here across Southeast Texas. So for your 10-day high temperature trend, we are expecting highs to be in the upper 90s by Tuesday and Wednesday, getting up to 96 for Friday, 97 for Saturday. And as far as your 7-day forecast, expect those temps to remain mostly hot and humid. Friday, looking likely that we're going to see highs in the 90s, but we are expecting those conditions to remain mostly just a bit on the active side for today. So just to kind of wrap this up, this is the extended live stream. And so if you're just now joining the live stream, we have more of a scattered rain and storm chance later this afternoon, all thanks to this tropical moisture that is heading our way, that is moving into Southeast Texas. So heavy downpours likely this afternoon between 11 and 5 p.m. It's why we're issuing that weather impact alert. We could see some low visibility and some ponding on roadways. So be on the lookout for that is possible for later this afternoon. Although a lot of folks, I pay attention to social media, and a lot of folks, oh, this storm came out of nowhere. Well, we're warning you now that we could see some scattered storm activity later on this afternoon as we are dealing with a lot of activities going in across the Houston area. We have the Beyonce concert, we have a lot of festivals going on across town, and so it's definitely one of those weekends where people are going to be out and about, and you don't want to be caught off guard by these downpours, especially as they move inland across our area and across Harris County. So downpours are possible between 12 to 3 p.m., at least by 4 or 5 p.m. That's when we usually get to the warmest parts of the day, between 3 and 4. The daytime heating really does a good job at fueling storm activity. So we could be looking at some lightning and some heavy rain at times going into later today. So if you're heading out to the Beyonce concert, hopefully you're watching and hopefully you're paying attention to the news, because we could see some more of those scattered showers and storms by later today, at least by between the 2 and 3 p.m. hour. A lot of folks end up going to the concert hours before to try to beat the traffic, but just have a plan B, maybe bring an umbrella, because if you have to make that hour or that mile-long trek from where you park to the NRG Stadium, because we could see those downpours later on this afternoon. I'm keep showing you that future cast to kind of stress the importance that we do have significant rain chances later on today. And this is all thanks from tropical moisture from Tropical Depression 2 that is currently well south of the U.S.-Mexico border. This is going to be a very short-lived storm. It's going to be interesting. It might end up strengthening into a tropical storm just before landfall. So it could take on the name Barry going into later today. It's going to be interesting to see if the National Hurricane Center will give it the name Barry later on today, but this is expected to remain well south of the U.S.-Mexico border, and we are not expecting this to really directly impact us. We're going to have some indirect impact in terms of tropical moisture for the rain chances for today, but the good news is that the heavier rain with this system well south of Texas over Soto La Marina out at 2.5 inches of rain, Tampico, Mexico at 4.5 inches of rain. So the good news is that we're not seeing that much rain. So Tropical Depression 2, you're able to see that activity on the satellite imagery. However, going into looking at what's over Florida, this is a new area of concern that we're looking at. This now has a 20% chance of development within the next 7 days. So tropics are ramping up as we go closer towards the first week of July. We also have some Saharan dust. This suppresses tropical development, and it's also going to bring some hazy skies for us going into Tuesday and into Wednesday. And so just keep in mind for the next few days, we might even see less rain chances for Tuesday and Wednesday. I think it's going to be mostly isolated in nature. The only thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on is the heat. High temps, when we eliminate rain from the forecast, all that's going to happen is that the heat's going to ramp up. Highs in the upper 90s. Typical July as we go into July 1st and 2nd, and we are expecting it to be pretty hot and humid. We could see feels like temps in the hundreds by the end of the work week. So just have it in your mind to bring an umbrella, but also practice those heat safety measures heading into those afternoon hours. So for your 10-day high temperature trends, highs in the upper 90s, lows in the 70s. We're going to be having a rather hot outlook by the middle of the week. But as far as your 7-day forecast, rain chances a bit more scattered and widespread later this afternoon, so be on the lookout for those downpours. Don't be caught off guard, especially when it comes to those flooded roadways. If a little isolated area in Houston does get that 2 to 3 inches of rain, it's difficult to pinpoint where exactly that could be, but just be on the lookout for those downpours. I know you can probably see them from a distance. It's been very isolated in nature. I think this last little flooding event that we had, folks were able to see the flooding that was going on in the Galleria area, but I think folks in other areas across Houston didn't really see much rain. So be on the lookout for those downpours later this day. Highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s, hazy skies and Saharan dust making a comeback by Tuesday. And we're going to be up to the upper 90s by Wednesday and Thursday. And then for the 4th of July, could see some scattered showers later in the afternoon hours, but I think we're going to be mostly just hot and humid. I don't think there's going to be too much concerns in those firework display shows. So I think it's going to be a fantastic time to celebrate outdoors heading into the end of the week. And as always, we are tracking the latest weather information on KHOU 11 Plus and on the KHOU 11 app. That's where you can get access to the extended forecast, these daily forecasts that we usually like to put out every single day. And we're going to keep you updated as we head into the afternoon, especially as these showers and storms are expected to ramp up around the noon hour. Again, I'm meteorologist Chris Ramirez with your extended forecast. Have a safe one and be on the lookout for those showers for today and